morning, friends. I just was doing a little bit of work this morning around the home place, and obviously I've got some of my bee equipment on, so I'm doing some work with my bees. Um, I decided, based on some of the dirt work that we've been doing around the backside of the house and everything, I was able to kind of take a shortcut to get up to the hill where I had the bees, and it was rather difficult for me to get up there. And carrying all the equipment and going up a hill and all that was becoming a little bit too much. Plus, we have all these issues with bears and stuff around, so we have to have an electric fence. My charger pretty much, I don't know, it got zapped by lightning. We've had a lot of lightning storms and stuff. Plus, it's probably over 2 years old. They don't really last a long time, despite how much they cost. So I made the decision that I was going to move my beehives, I have two, down into a corner of my garden that's fenced in and has an electric fence. So I'm going to kind of show you where it was, where I've moved it, and the situation I'm dealing with this morning. Okay, so this is the hill that I had. You can see the cinder blocks up there and the electric fence and the charger. I had my beehives up there. It was a good sunny spot. It was pretty much the reason why I picked it. This dirt in through here, if I can turn it, this is all being removed because we have some drainage issues, and this needs to be brought down to the same, trying to get it to focus, to the same level as down here. That kind of goes up and then it goes up the hill. That's not ideal. And so because of that, I've got to go all the way around and climb up with a cart and my my stuff for taking care of the bees, and it's just really not easy. And like I said, that charger up there must have got zapped by lightning. It works, but it doesn't really work very well. And we've just been having issues. We haven't had any issues with anything attacking the hives, but just in general access and making sure that the electric fence is up to standard has not been so great. So what we've done is we've moved it down the hill, back through to my garden. You can see where the chicken run is. And I've got my hives over there in the corner. I'm going to walk over there to them. The rooster's not at all happy with me basically being generally in his environment. But we moved the white hive, the little nuke, last night. This morning we just moved the teal hive, and as you can see, my white hive did not make it. I have been battling with moisture issues. We have had so much rain. It has been disgusting. And I did what was called a quilt box. And let me see, I just threw it in sort of like my composting area. This was the pine shavings. This is supposed to help absorb the moisture, and it did. But let me tell you something. This is soaking wet. Soaking wet. And you can see where there was mold growing on top of the pine shavings. And what you do is you have two boxes. This one with the fabric on it is where the pine shavings go into, and then this other one here with the yellow cap in it is sort of like a spacer. And what's supposed to happen is let me actually see if I can get the configuration. So it's supposed to actually look like this, right? So the moisture comes up through here and kind of filters up and settles back down onto the pine shavings. And this is a vent, and you're supposed to be able to have it vents out, right? The moisture vents out. I don't know if I did it wrong or if there was just so much moisture here, and my guess there's probably just a ton of. We had something like, I don't know, 10 inches of rain in just a couple of days back in February. And then plus what the bees end up creating as far as their metabolic processes and everything. So Lots of moisture problems. This morning when we moved the teal hive, we heard signs of life, so I believe this one is still alive. I haven't popped it open. It's still a little too chilly out here to do that, but I just wanted to take a quick peek into this one and to see what we had. I also believe secondarily, in addition to the moisture issue, I had put winter patties on. You can still see there's a little bit of stuff in here, but boy, the comb was eaten down to nothing. And when you look in, you can see that there's bees that, you know, they're probably scraping the bottom of the barrel. They're looking for any kind of a food source, and there's just nothing there. So this is, I believe, I don't smell anything that would indicate that there was a disease or anything like that. It's like literally they just froze in place, probably due to the moisture content and being super lethargic because they didn't have a lot of food. So bad beekeeping on my part. I did find the queen, and here she is. So you can see what she kind of looks like in the back. She does look different than, say, a worker bee. Let me see if I can grab one. Easily grab one. And you can see the difference between the two of them. Sorry, I'm trying to record all this, and I'm doing it through my veil, which I probably really don't need at this point, but see how much smaller she is compared to the other. And she's actually even a little bit more of a golden color. And this is a bum because this was a split that I did off of this hive, and I was really hoping to be able to have more activity, more hives, but I know that this has actually been a really big issue that I've had in the teal hive. I did the same thing with a moisture board, but I also did a quilt box like this here, but then I also had a moisture board on top of that. So I think that probably that is something that I needed to have for this little nuke. I tried to do pennies in the corners. You can see I have them here in the corner and stuff. Is just like a little way for extra ventilation, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough ventilation, and it wasn't enough food. So this is part of the reason why the hive is now down here at a much more accessible location, so that I can check on them more often, even though I've got to deal with this little guy right here. He don't like me. He doesn't like anybody. He's huge, actually. I don't even know how much he weighs. He's probably about 10 pounds. But he doesn't like people coming out into his lair, and he's not. I've tried my best to woo him, and he's just not having it. I think it's just part of the breed. They're just very independent and kind of skittish, and that's how they are. So I just have to be careful with when they are out and not in their coop or whatever. And I got to come out here, work in the garden, do anything in the chicken coop, do anything with the bees. I've got to make sure that he's occupied. So I scraped off the bottom, took the whole hive off, and that's the bottom board. And look at how moldy and everything was, and all the debris that when the bees are cleaning the hive and stuff, it was all moldy and just really sad and pathetic. So I took what I could and I dumped them all right there for the chickens, and they'll be coming here in a minute, hopefully. But they've got some bees. They got some good protein if they want to eat it. But that's about really all I can do for that. Live and learn and try and do better next time. That's it for today. And remember, you all are the gold. Thanks.